What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you're listening on the podcast platform, make sure to subscribe or, rate it or whatever you do on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. But before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to all the people that showed up to the pregame and postgame live stream that we had, before the Ravens game against the Panthers, where the Panthers won. Joshua and I will have, some podcasts coming out pretty soon talking about what we felt about the games and more stuff like that. But if you want to see kind of our instant reactions, you can go back, watch the stream. It was like an hour and a half long, but you can skip through. There's definitely things that we want to talk about, in videos throughout this week, and we will get to that. But I felt today's video had to be about the biggest thing surrounding the Ravens, and that has to be LJ Fort. LJ Fort got injured in the game. Harbaugh was not the optimistic man that he normally is, and he was like, nah, it's not good. And we got it back. LJ Fort has torn his ACL. It's not going to be back this season, like whatsoever. So he is out for the year, and that's very unfortunate. And I'm going to talk about everything that this means, not just for the Ravens, but what it also means for him. And I did see on Twitter that somebody said that he's going to have similar surgery to what Joe Burrow had. And Joe Burrow is obviously coming back this year. So, hopefully everything's able to go well. It was a clean tear. So that means that, there wasn't other things that got messed up or anything like that. So hopefully he's able to come back and be, the player that he's always been for the Ravens. But in terms of LJ Fort individually, this is not a good thing whatsoever. There is no benefit. And I think one of the biggest negatives for him is that I think he's done in Baltimore. I don't expect him to be able to come back. Just, heck, the Ravens even cut him this year until they had to bring him back. They may have been looking at the draft to see if they could get, a good linebacker. None of them ended up falling to them or the guys that they wanted. So they ended up picking him back up and, getting him on that 1-year deal and hoping that he would be able to, be that solid backup or potentially fight for that number 2 linebacker spot. And even though I felt like throughout the preseason, I was very confident that Malik Harrison would be the linebacker 2 and LJ Fort would be their backup and kind of a special teams player, he was definitely still in that mix where he would be playing kind of meaningful snaps throughout the season for the Ravens. So him getting injured, it is a big missed opportunity for him. And obviously we're always wishing for the best. Hope he does very well in his recovery. Hope surgery goes well when he does have that. But it's going to be difficult for him because he's going to have to find a new team coming off of an ACL injury. And that's going to be extremely difficult to do because it's just going to be a year off for kind of a veteran linebacker that already didn't have crazy athleticism. So it's going to be a tough job. Now, he can still get a job somewhere else. The Ravens could very well bring him back. I'm not saying that we have to count it out, but I really hope that he's able to find somewhere, even if, it could be Baltimore, but I'm really hoping for the best for him, when he does come back, that he is able to get something and he's able to be, the player that he was. But looking at the Ravens and how this affects the Ravens, he was a key piece to this team. He was a definite voice on the special teams. He was a definite voice in the linebackers group because he was the veteran. He was the veteran of that group because Patrick Queen and Malik Harrison, both second-year players. Chris Board is still relatively young. He's not a young player. I think he's around 26, 27 years old. But LJ Fort was the veteran, and he was out there, and he was helping those guys out, and he was always helping PQ. He's always helping Malik and everybody else in that core. And then on special teams, he was just a vocal leader. Him and CoCap were the veterans on that special teams unit, and now it looks like, okay, we've lost him. Who's going to be able to step up? And the Ravens have 2 guys after they put Otaro Alaka on injured reserve after the game against the Saints last week. So who are those guys? And I'll kind of go over those guys and talk a little bit about them. But the first guy would be Chris Board. Chris Board's been on the Ravens for a few seasons. He's played a little bit. I believe he started in a couple of games, after the Ravens had some injuries at the linebacker spot. He's been decent. He's a good player. He's very similar to LJ Fort, in my opinion. Just Just he may not be crazy athletic, but he's kind of a smart player. He kind of knows where to be, and he knows how to tackle. He's not going to make any crazy big plays. He's not going to lay the wood on anybody, but he's going to go out there and try and be composed and do a good job. And I don't think he's as good as LJ Fort, but we'll see if he's able to replicate that and also play on special teams. But the guy that I really want to look at, is a guy that I've never talked about on this channel. That's Kristian Welch. And he's a guy that was undrafted out of Iowa last year. And obviously we never got to see him. We saw him in a couple of games in very, very minor playing time or playing snaps, but we didn't get to see him in preseason or anything like that because there was no preseason last year. And so he is a guy that I'm going to rewatch the preseason game. I'm yet to do it, and I'm going to be looking at Board and Welch and watch how they play. But I'm really excited to see Welch. He was a very good player at Iowa. The Ravens have had success at Iowa getting a lot of players, but he's a little bit more versatile. He can stop the pass. He can actually get after the quarterback, and I think that he has a good chance of being that linebacker 3. And I think both of them probably end up making the team. I think we end up having 4 linebackers, and it'll just become a weekly battle of who's going to be the guy getting those extra snaps when PQ needs a breather, when Malik needs a breather. One of those guys is going to be coming in, and I'm not as confident in them as I was with LJ Fort. I really felt like LJ Fort could step in for Malik Harrison, and you wouldn't see like a major drop-off. You wouldn't see anybody just absolutely dropping anybody like Malik Harrison does when he, in Madden, you hit stick somebody. That's what Malik Harrison likes to do to a lot of players. But LJ Fort would still make that tackle and make those plays. But, this is really unfortunate. LJ Fort was an underlying foundational piece of this Ravens team, and his voice is definitely going to be missed. Once again, I got to say I'm rooting for the best for him. Hopefully he's able to come back. I don't think it's going to be with the Ravens, but I think the Ravens are going to be able to replace him in Chris Board and Kristian Welch. However, they're definitely going to be guys that we need to be watching a lot in this next preseason game. And if you guys rewatch the games or anything like that, definitely look out for them. I was not paying attention to them whatsoever when I was watching it because linebacker was not a spot that I was, focusing on because I was focusing on the safeties. I was focusing on the secondary, and I was focusing on the running backs watching the game. But, this is a tough blow for the Ravens. However, there's a chance that we don't see a drop-off whatsoever from last year in the linebacking core because Malik Harrison's I expect to be significantly better, and he could definitely take that jump, as could Patrick Queen. So even if the Ravens, defense looks like it takes a major jump in the linebacking group, it won't be because, LJ Fort's gone, so now it's better. It's not that at all. It's, the younger guys have stepped up and they're performing at a great level. So LJ Fort being gone hurts this team. However, that hopefully that the Ravens are going to be able to make up for it with Kristian Welch and Chris Board. But thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below on the LJ Fort injury. And like I end every video now, if you didn't know, I end every video with trivia. And I want to know who on the Ravens, in Ravens history, I do Ravens trivia at the end of every video. Comment down below who in Ravens history has had the most passes defended in a single season. Figured it was a defensive video. I'll do a defensive thing. Most passes defended in a single season, so that's picks and swats combined. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully somebody's able to get it. Only one person got last week or yesterday's video or 2 days ago. So thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and I will see all of you again tomorrow.